Now, let's get to our lead story this evening. It's no secret that the Indian Reserve Bank has no love lost for cryptocurrencies. However, their demand to fully ban cryptos has not been heeded yet. While buying and selling of cryptos is not illegal in India, it has definitely become tougher in the last 1 year, specifically after the last financial budget. But today, the governor, in his harshest statement yet, made it clear that the only way to protect the global economy is to ban what he calls private cryptocurrencies. Governor Shaktikanta went as far as to say that the next global financial crisis will be caused by cryptos. Let's first listen in to his statement. Statement in just a bit, but important to remember what Shaktikanta Das said. He said today that global markets are in danger till we don't have a complete ban on cryptocurrency. So why this absolute disdain for cryptos? Well, the RBI has had a told you so moment this year with one of the largest crypto exchanges, FTX, going bankrupt and the value of popular coins plummeting by 70 to 90% as a result. Why have cryptos in the span of a year gone from the darling of the new age investors to the next big threat? Take a look at this report.
Safe hai, simple hai, future yahi hai, declared the beautiful Disha Patni. Kuch to badlega, prophesized an exuberant Ranveer Singh. And future yahi hai, reassured Ayushman Khurrana. Well, to put it simply, cryptos were touted and promoted as a way of life, with sky-high returns, but money often has a mind of its own. Cryptocurrencies did hit lifetime highs in November 2021, but a year later, majority of the large traded cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano and Binance have all shed up to 90% of their value. The crypto world was taken by rising interest rates, which resulted in risk-off sentiment, layoffs, liquidity issues, withdrawal freezes, regulatory hurdles, and even exchange bankruptcies. The global market capitalization of crypto space also fell below the $1 trillion mark. And it's only natural as Bitcoin has a strong correlation with interest-sensitive tech indices like Nasdaq 100, which itself fell around 30% in 2022. The crypto industry in India has also faced regulatory and taxation hurdles. The euphoria seen in November 2021 finally giving way to a more cautious approach. At one point, Bitcoin was worth $69,000. Now it's not even worth $20,000. No wonder then, Indian crypto exchanges saw volumes fall by 90 to 95% in 2022. Analysts also see a churn in asset allocation, with investors moving money into mutual funds and direct equities. RBI too has been very cautious when it comes to cryptocurrencies, and higher tax rates were also imposed in the previous budget. Now with the Reserve Bank launching its own pilot project for digital rupee, major players like Binance have stated that they have no big plans for India. Celsius, BlockFi, Vault, Voyager Digital have all gone bankrupt. But the biggest jolt to the crypto world was the fall of FTX. This one event itself wiped out $300 billion market cap in the crypto space. Binance backed out of the bailout of FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried has been arrested. Cryptocurrencies are clearly not the future investors were promised.
All right, R. Gandhi, former Deputy Governor of RBI, with me on the show this evening. Subhash Chandra Garg, former Finance Secretary of India, speaking with me. I'm joined by Ajeet Khurrana, founder of Reflixical, and Khushbu Jain, lawyer in the Supreme Court. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today. Let me start with you, Mr. Subhash Garg. The governor saying that, mark my words, the next global crisis will come because of cryptocurrencies. Do you think that there is merit in that statement?
See, what you mean by financial crisis is generally, as we would understand, is that the financial markets collapse, the lending collapse, or the asset prices collapse. The crypto asset prices have already collapsed. What is the next crisis to come from where? When there is no leverage, when there is no asset built up or bubble, I think the statement as far as the financial crisis in Uganda is concerned is excessively alarmist. RBI has, as you also said, a strong distaste for the cryptocurrencies, which is understandable, being the sole sovereign mandated currency regulator. You don't like any other currency to come in your space. In fact, cryptocurrencies are hardly working as currencies in the country. They're working as assets, which is regulated by somebody else in the country as well. So, as far as currencies is concerned, cryptocurrencies, to my mind, are more or less absent. As an asset class, they've already fallen badly. I don't think where is the next crisis coming
Is it
from.
over
It's
for
over.
cryptos? Is the crypto story over?
See, the asset as an asset or the valuation where people were chasing bubbles or dreams or gas, whatever you call, as far as that is concerned, the crypto story is over to my mind. But the crypto based businesses, services, and assets will be continued to be built. That story is only at the beginning, and that is a very promising technology to build the digital economy of the future, digital assets, services, games, whatever you name. That story is at the beginning. I don't think that's over.
Ajeet, Khurrana, volumes have, I think, gone down 70-80% for crypto exchanges. Valuations are also down massively, 80-90%, as our story, as our report explained. The governor saying, let's just ban it. Do you think his argument has become stronger with the events of the last 1 year?
Predict that the next major road accident will be because of cars, and as a result, cars should all be banned. Likewise for buses, trucks, and trains. That logic works because it is factually correct. We can just ban everything that can have a problem, and all problems go away. But that may not be the right way to look at it. And by the way, I must point out that the volumes in India have actually dropped 97+%, as we know from TDS collection data, which September 30 numbers are now available. So it's not 70-80 anymore. The reality is, based on TDS information, it's 97+. I completely disagree. By the way, I agree that a crisis may arise. There might be an FTX-like crisis, etc. But is the job of any regulator merely to issue warnings or doing something about it? If it comes under RBI's purview, it should do something about it. If it does not come under RBI's purview, then, well, somebody else should do something about it as opposed to issue warnings.
No, but the problem is nobody knows whose purview it comes under. This is something they're discussing even in the G20 finance track. When I spoke to Geeta Gopinath, she spoke about it. She talked about it as if they're not regulated, it's going to be the wild, wild west. No regulator likes crypto.
You are completely right. And there are characteristics to this asset or commodity or whatever you want to call it, which are not identical to any previous one. If you have a unified regulator such as the Monetary Authority of Singapore, we know that the Monetary Authority of Singapore has to regulate it. But when you have a banking regulator which is different from an asset regulator, like an RBI versus SEBI, either both have to regulate aspects of it, or there has to be reading of existing laws which enhances the scope of those laws to include cryptocurrency. That is the only way to go about it.
Gandhi, let me get your view, and we're going to play out that governor's bite in just a couple of minutes. But before that, let me get the view of R. Gandhi. Do you think that the Indian central bank's position on crypto has been justified in the last 1 year, or it's unwilling to look at where the future is going? Crypto is being described as a future that is inevitable. Ajeet, Khurrana said it's like saying let's ban cars so that there are no accidents.
Tamanna, what governor is emphasizing is about the recent happening in the last 1 year or so. Out of that, two problems we can easily understand. One is that because now the crypto value has fallen so low, whoever has used leverage to invest in crypto, have they lost, how they have lost, what is the consequence thereof? There is no data. There is one problem, underlying problem. Second problem that we can foresee is that now that crypto assets, so-called crypto assets are so cheap, it may attract attention from speculators because they know that by the past history, their value can go up. So for that purpose, they may put in large money, and that can lead to further problem down the line. I think that's what governor is hinting, that the financial crisis later on could come out of that. So that's a problem which we foresee. Let's say the point is that whenever public policy, public authorities do foresee certain severe damage to public, whereby when the public will not be able to manage their own risk better. In that case, there has to be public policy intervention in terms of banning such activities. Like in the years before, horse trading was banned in the country, in some parts of the country. Later on, when the government got the assurance that people will be able to manage their own the risk of investing in or participating in horse racing, then it was allowed to happen. So that way, at the stage of development of the people's capacity to manage their own risk, until that time, the policy prescription could be banning such activity. I think that's what the governor is emphasizing.
Let's listen in, actually. Let's listen in to exactly what the governor said today.
Currencies have certain huge inherent risks for our macroeconomic and financial stability. And we have been pointing it out. And the developments over the last 1 year, including the latest episode of the built around this FTX, I think after all this, I don't think we need to say anything more about our stand. I think the time has proved that cryptocurrencies are worth what they are today. Our main concern about crypto is that it doesn't have any underlying whatsoever. Private cryptocurrency is a fashionable way of describing what is otherwise 100% speculative activity. Private cryptocurrencies owe their origin to bypass the system, to break the system. Yet to hear any credible argument about what public good or what public purpose it serves. I would still hold the view that it should be prohibited. If it is allowed to grow, that if you try to regulate it and allow it to grow, please mark my words, the next financial crisis will come from private cryptocurrencies.
Mark my words, the next financial crisis will come from private cryptocurrencies. Strong words there, Khushbu Jain. The problem with India's regulation is that the government has not made clear what it wants to do. The RBI is unequivocal that they want it banned. There is a shadow ban because investors can put in money but very difficult to pull out, so trading volumes have dropped, huge taxation on it. Let's make it clear what we want to do.
Absolutely agree with you. See, we have to bring in some sort of legislation around this thing because closing eyes won't solve anything over here. Just by taking it that we do not want to bring in legislation is not stopping this world. And this is not just restricting to your own jurisdiction. This is a global thing and you cannot stop it in your country. So I would say a light touch regulation, which in a way, or a loose regulation, which permits virtual currencies to develop or these areas to develop, which will make it easier for entrepreneurs, for startups, and even for public to have a reliability onto it, that there are some credibility being given to whatever currency, and they would not get succumb to some illegal exchanges which are coming into existence, or coin which have been introduced. So I would say that closing eyes won't solve the purpose, or putting people in the gray area won't solve any purpose, because what you're doing is it's not stopping, or people will succumb to wrong places. So in a way I agree that a more promising approach can be through a central bank digital currency, which they have recently been done so, that can operate within the border of digital monetary system. And this approach can, in a way, build the trust embedded in the central bank money and then could serve public interest in the future monetary system. Now, the technology benefits flow in real world economic activities rather than just other types of cryptos. So I think the economic benefit of decentralization should also be scrutinized more effectively, but nonetheless, closing the eyes will create issues such as money laundering, such as illegal activities which happens using cryptocurrencies, and cryptos are being utilized by the world when it comes to your darknet, when it comes to trading of
No, so if I were to simply ask, Khushbu, should crypto be banned or not right now in India?
I think banning is not the solution. You need to bring in some regulation to understand and maybe not give recognition as a legal tender, but there has to be some light touch regulation, which in a way create that this can flourish instead of just strangulating it.
Mr. Gandhi, what is your view on this? Because this digital assets bill is hanging fire. It doesn't even turn up in the list on parliament sessions anymore. It's as if nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, that's because.
So should we ban it or not?
Banning is going to be the difficult proposition in terms of technology, because technology is the base under which, based on which this whole system has come on. So it is going to be highly difficult to manage banning also. And if it is not banned also, whatever regulation is there, it can be circumvented because technology will be enabled that. So we are really in a catch-22 situation whether banning is good or not banning is good. That, as I said, that depends upon the public assessment, that authorities' assessment, that is it going to be creating large-scale damage? In that case, we should ban. If the assessment is that large-scale damage will not happen, people will be able to manage their own way of by their finances, then it can be regulated. So that's an assessment which will have to be taken by the authorities. My view, so far, I have been maintaining that yes, it can be allowed as a asset, some kind of asset form, but the enablement that these cryptocurrencies or so-called crypto assets can be utilized for payments, that is the biggest problem, because that can lead to further problems in terms of monetary policy assessment, impact and other things. That's where the bank has been very, very hesitant to approve the cryptocurrencies. So it is on balance, it is a public authority's view whether damage is going to be manageable or not manageable.
Mr. Garg, time to clarify what we want to do, and ban or no ban. Governor Das is very clear that please ban it. It's going to cause the next crisis.
Yeah, because
so the ban is
yes, Mr. Garg.
The ban is impossible technically, physically. Reserve Bank tried to indirectly ban it by disallowing the financial system banks to sort of allow transactions there. This was considered as undue interference in the business. Supreme Court struck it out. So, and even on merit, a ban is not justified. The cryptocurrencies, to my mind, are inherent to the new decentralized database kind of system on which the services, businesses, and assets are built. That system will not work without the platform digital currencies or cryptocurrencies, as you call. The solution is to create a harmonious kind of relationship between the sovereign currency, which can be digital as well, as we are trying to also experiment, and the private cryptocurrencies or the platform cryptocurrencies, which do enormous amount of, and which will in times to come do enormous amount of kind of services and produce goods and assets. So no ban is justified, possible. We must build harmonious relationship and learn to live with this new innovation in a way which protects the interest of the society and allows the businesses to grow.
Well, the governor is still waiting to see any good it does to society. So maybe those presentations need to be prepared first. in a convincing way before we move ahead. I'll wrap this here, but thank you so much to all of you for joining us on the show today. Let me move on to the other big stories of the day.